I'm Representative Duane Milne, and I represent the 167th Legislative District. That's in the Malvern, Phoenixville, Exton quadrant of Chester County, so the eastern part of Chester County. And my objection to the Wolf Property Tax Relief Plan is really threefold. And I would also very quickly add that I think it's a bit of a misnomer to term it the Property Tax Relief Plan, because what this plan really is a tax shift. A very significant tax shift that will be done on the backs of many families, particularly here in Chester County, on the basis of an increase in the sales tax as one of the primary revenue sources for that. I will hone in here a little bit then on the objections to the sales tax increase. And my objections really are among what I would call three categories that I will speak to. One is, as a legislator, I am a member of the Appropriations Committee, so I have some perspective on the budget formulation as having a seat on that committee. Secondly, I will speak from my perspective as a university college professor and talk a little bit about the impact on higher education. And thirdly, as a family man, I can speak a little bit to some of the everyday examples that at every stage of the life cycle, more Chester County families will experience sales tax increases. So first, as a member of the Appropriations Committee, we have the distinct pleasure and honor and responsibility to be the committee that first reviews the state budget on behalf of the entire legislature and really the 12.7 million Pennsylvanians that make up the Commonwealth. We have just spent 3 weeks looking at the budget, and we have a chance to go through it line by line and vet every aspect of the budget. And I continue to be disturbed that this budget is premised in part on a vertical increase of 10% in the state sales tax, raising it from 6% to 6.66%. Secondly, I would add that there is a horizontal, what I call horizontal increase in this sales tax, because we're going to now tax and or unexempt a number of items that are not currently subject to the state sales tax. So we have a nexus of a vertical increase and a horizontal increase all hitting at the same time. And I think that's a fundamental unfair burden to Pennsylvania families. I would note that just as sort of larger perspective, it also continues to make Pennsylvania more challenged to be positioned economically, because we are already at the second highest state sales tax in the general Mid-Atlantic area. In my view, we should be moving in the other direction, trying to lower our state sales tax. However, reality is this is going in the opposite direction of actually increasing it to put us even closer to the top of the state rankings in the Mid-Atlantic area. As James Madison once said, this is a situation where the cure is worse than the disease. If the disease is a sales tax that is already too high, at least in my view, raising it even higher is a cure worse than the disease in terms of Pennsylvania's economic competitiveness. Secondly, as a university professor, I'm always very sensitive to the impact on college students and their families. It's somewhat ironic that this budget uses that as one of the revenue sources to try to raise dollars, because I think we all know the cost of college in general certainly has been a major priority among many stakeholders in the state and really probably across the country. A number of areas such as meal plans and college textbooks will be now subject to the state sales tax under the Wolf Tax Plan. These are obviously essential items for students to sustain themselves at college and to succeed at college. And it's ironic that candidate Wolf often talked about the high cost of college tuition and the need to bring it in, but this unfortunately is moving the needle in the wrong direction, because this is only going to increase the college cost for middle class, particularly middle class families. A study that has come out by the Association of Independent Colleges and Universities here in Pennsylvania shows that the average family who has a child, at least in a private university here, under this plan will spend about $500 more per student per year for this plan. That aggregates out to an astounding almost $85 million more in total taxes that are going to be subject to Pennsylvania families. So this is money that's being taken out of the economy, and it's making the cost of college that much more expensive, to the tune of at least $85 million more for Pennsylvania families. Again, as somebody who teaches at a college, I certainly well understand the impact. I certainly well understand that $500 to $1,000 to a couple $1,000 at times can make the difference about whether a student can even stay in semester and finish a particular semester. That's been my experience over time. So I think it's the wrong direction to balance the budget on behalf of working students and college students. Thirdly, I would say that as somebody who has experienced the life cycle here in Pennsylvania, but what I mean by that is I think I reflect many Pennsylvania families. I am somebody here who is married, raising a young son here, so I'm certainly part of that width and breadth of Chester County that wants to raise a family here and be able to provide a good living for the family. One thing that I've always found ironic looking at this budget, because I'm not too far removed myself from the days of diapers and baby food, is that diapers and baby food will now be subject to the state sales tax under this plan. I think that is very unfair, of course, to younger families, particularly those in lower and middle income ranges. I find it ironic that retirees like my parents, who are senior citizens, as we start to think about their end-of-life care, things such as in-home nursing care, rehabilitation stays, and even thinking about ultimately how to give them a proper burial, caskets, burial vaults. All these will be subject for the first time to the state sales tax. And that seems to be, in my view, a very unfortunate way to try to balance a state budget. And in between all this, all of us, in this room too, I'm sure, have need for any number of personal hygiene products or non-prescription drugs, or even a good old American flag, because patriotism never goes out of style, no matter what life stage one is at. All these will now be subject to the state sales tax as well. So given all that and given those three perspectives that I share with you, I would suggest that the Wolf Property Tax Relief Plan is neither a relief nor a plan. And I would suggest that it is going to only damage Pennsylvania's competitiveness just that much more. I think it's unfair to working families in Chester County and across the state. And I think it's a plan that really should be taken back to the Appropriations Committee so we can begin to look at it anew and find some more enlightened ways to try to fund this state budget. Thank you very much.